what are your thoughts around that? What are a couple of things that you might share for some of the listeners?
I think a few things, and I don't have like a prescriptive list, so I don't like can't say
Maybe
these
we're going to
five
make a
things.
play. Wait, maybe we'll
But
make a playbook
I
here.
like it. I like it. We'll just see where
Mike.
it takes us. No, a few things, a few lessons that I've learned even in a short time, just I think approaching leadership in that way is one of the first ones I think, and this was a big one for me, kind of the number one, was I've got to stay organized if I'm going to lead that way. And so what
Mm,
I mean by that is when I'm sitting in a Dallas HR operations board meeting, board of trustees meeting, or just interfacing with folks, and I say to them, "Hey, will you go and run this project for me?" Um, I have to stay organized, meaning that I have to make sure that I set some sort of system for myself to ask them, how are things going 30 days from now, right? I can't just say, will you take this and hope that miraculously 6 months from now, like they have the event and it goes off without, any glitches whatsoever. It's like, I've got to help them along that process and ask them like every 30 days on a regular cadence, how are things going? Is there anywhere you need help? Is there anywhere that we can like jump in and brainstorm? Is everything going great? And it's okay if they say, hey, everything's going great. I really don't need you. That's okay. I can kind of walk away and say, all right, I'll come back in 30 more days. But they might say, hey, I'm really dealing with X, Y, and Z. Could you help me just think it through? And, I kind of owe it to them to do that. So again, I think the number one thing is kind of staying organized, having that regular cadence and just that cycle of accountability, if you will. I think the other thing that I've learned is there's also an element of trying to the best of your ability, trying to measure someone up and understanding their strengths,
mm.
and then trying to get them into projects, I think that really emphasize those strengths, right? As opposed to putting them in a project where it's like, hey, you're really weak in this area, and I'm going to put a project, give you a project that highlights your weaknesses. Go the other way, right? I'm going to give you a project that really taps into your strengths. And I think by doing that, you're just setting people up for success. And I realize that you can't always do that, right? Sometimes you just got to get a project done and you got to use who you got to use. But I think if you can be a little more conscious about that, I've tried to be, I think you can have a little bit more success. And then, another big thing is for me as an individual, and I'd be curious, and I imagine others grapple with this too, is trying to suppress and hold back my own impulses. And so what I mean by that is when I'm having those accountability and those check-ins or a project comes up, sometimes my natural desire might be to jump in and take the bull by the horns and run with it, or to just like spout out like, well, here are 3 ways that you can do it. And I have to like hold back that impulse, and I have to really hold my tongue because I'm not there to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm there to help like coach them and help them bring the solution about and really be their collaborator. And so I've had to learn that. I think that patience and just kind of going through that process. And that's, I think as I get older, it's maybe a little easier to do, but not something that I was probably really strong on, earlier in my career. But those are three things that kind
Yeah.
of come to mind as you talk about like what are specific tactics to take and run with.
Yeah, I love that. I love number one. We talked about, you said, you didn't say we or the team. You said, I need to stay organized.